There is a very interesting lawsuit taking place right now in the court system that involves Nivea's skin firming lotion. And the reason this lawsuit is so interesting is because it's not necessarily about, is this product doing what it's supposed to do? The lawsuit is actually about, should the government have to approve this because it contains some type of medicine? Joining me now to talk about this is Scott Hardy from Top Class Actions. So Scott, obviously any product that is sold as a medicine, whether it's prescription or over the counter, has to go through a government approval and testing process. Now, the lines get a little blurred when we're talking about these skincare products. After all, they do make a lot of lofty promises. You know, maybe this skincare product is going to cure your acne. Maybe this one's going to get rid of wrinkles. You know, maybe this one's going to get rid of your rash. Whatever it is, those seem like medical claims. And that's actually what the plaintiffs in this case have argued. And a judge recently said that this case can move forward. It met the bar of plausibility that Nivea should have to get these approved. So explain this a little bit. This is really interesting.
Sure. So this class action has been litigated back in 2015, I believe is when it started, or 2014. And so they've been going back and forth. The class action was actually dismissed by the judge, but then on appeal, and it was dismissed because the judge said, no, we can't see damages that amount to more than $5 million, which was the minimum amount to qualify as under the class action for the federal claims. And so now you've got an appeals court that said, oh, no, we're seeing more than $5 million in potential damages. So yes, this qualifies. But it all amounts to a lot of the claims that are being made by Nivea regarding their skin firming lotion. Now, Nivea is saying, hey, we're just advertising this as a hydrating lotion. We don't need to have any kind of FDA clearance to do this. But the plaintiffs are stating the advertising surrounding the skin turning lotion makes it seem like a medicine, makes it seem like something that should be cleared by the FDA, because they aren't just saying Nivea skin firming lotion hydrates. No, they're saying Nivea skin firming lotion actually makes your skin firm. This gives you real medical benefits by using this. And if you're going to make those claims for medical benefits, then according to this class action, you need to get FDA clearance to do it.
You know, I'm sure everybody has walked through a drugstore, or, maybe the medicine section of your grocery store. And you do see, like I said, there really is a little bit of a blurred line, because you've got your ointments and your creams that are medically approved. Your antibacterial creams that you would put on a cut, and then almost right next to it, that's when the lotions start. And that's where you start getting into the gray area, because a lot of times they do claim to do the same thing that these actual medicines claim to do, yet they don't have to back it up. They don't have to go through the federal government and be tested. Nivea didn't submit all of this testing to the FDA showing that, 98% of people who use this, their skin was so firm we could hit it with a hammer and they wouldn't even notice. No, they didn't have to do that. And to be honest, they should. If you're going to make a claim that you have any kind of medicinal value, whether it's a lotion or a supplement, whatever it is, we need to have the federal government say, okay, come prove it to us. That's smart regulation. That is how we prevent consumers from getting duped by all these, fly-by-night snake oils that seem to be coming out at an alarming rate today.
Right, exactly. And of course, consumers are paying a premium for the Nivea skin firming lotion. So if I'm going to pay $5 for a bottle of Nivea lotion, but I got to pay $10 for a bottle of Nivea skin firming lotion, there should be a lot of science to back up my $10 bottle. And, if we're making these lofty claims, maybe just like the class action says, it should actually adhere to FDA guidelines and be submitted to the FDA for clearance. If you're charging the premium, you're going to have to adhere by those higher standards.
Right. We need to know that there has been some kind of testing to prove that this premium lotion does more than their regular lotion, does more than the store brand of lotion that you can probably get for a fraction of the cost. But right now, all we can do is technically take the company's word for it. And their word is that, nope, this is great, this is skin firming. Our other lotions are not. So if you use that, you're not going to get as much of a benefit. You're not going to get as much of a benefit if you buy that store brand, the cheaper stuff. You've got to buy the good stuff if you really want healthy skin. And to me, that phrase right there, healthy skin, you hear it all the time in their advertisements. So obviously, they're marketing this for its health benefits. To me, that little phrase right there, I think these lawyers need to go in there, mention that, or maybe even show one of those ads in court. And I think that's a slam dunk at that point. You're marketing it based on health, then you need to go through the same standards that everybody else does.
Right. We'll have to see if this one gets settled out. Because of this claim, Nivea isn't just sitting there saying, hey, we're going to modify the box. I mean, they've got some real big issues if they're found in violation of this. So I think they're going to, both the plaintiffs are going to have and continue to have an uphill battle in trying to get this to settle out, because Nivea, of course, even if it settles, they're not going to admit any guilt or wrongdoing. But they don't want to appear to be in the wrong in any way, shape, or form in front of the FDA, which means they're going to fight twice as hard as they typically would against some kind of typical labeling class action, in my opinion. But, we'll see. This has been going on since 2014, and some of these class actions could go on for another 4 or 5 years. We just don't know.
And that's why this one to me is so important, because this wouldn't just be, Nivea having to say, shucks, we swindled you, we're going to fix it. That's not what this is about. This is about possibly changing the way that entire industry operates and markets itself. This could be big, if in fact Nivea decides not to settle, rides it all the way through the courts, and then loses. We're talking about industry-wide changes within this, skincare therapy industry. And personally, I would love to see those changes happen. More information on this, you can follow the link in the description of this video. Head on over to topclassactions.com. And while you're there, sign up for their weekly newsletter. It has all of the information consumers need to arm themselves with to protect themselves from some of the worst scams from corporate America. Scott Hardy, Top Class Actions, thank you very much for talking with me.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, Farron.